What's up,
maggots?
Okay, I am really bad at intros. This video will feature SWEGTA, DEgo and the TheNathanNS. Let's fucking do this.
In world.img, there are two files called pcspec.txt and pcspec.dff. These files contain the texture and model for what seems to be another type of cola you could have bought called Peetza Pop. The texture is really small, but thankfully there is another file called l_insignage.txt, which contains a bigger version of this logo.
Inside world.img, there are multiple .txt files which contain low-quality pictures of the exterior/interior that you see after opening the door. They have both a day and night variation. These include a boys' dorm with the second floor, a new Coventry screenshot that still shows the old Bean Co's logo and it was called Fraffy, a very different roof screenshot, and a bunch of screenshots showing a completely different school. There's a link in the description in case you want to check them all out.
You've probably seen this screenshot, which shows Jimmy driving this green lawnmower, and some other differences here and there. But what's interesting is that the texture in the final game is badly mapped, so you can't see stuff like the name. Here's a comparison. As you can see, the final game's lawnmower looks really bad.
This picture, which you can find down below in the video description, plus some more in case you want to read it yourself, has a lot of great information. So, what are we waiting for? Let's read some of it. Quote, "We also saw the common room in the dorm, where students can purchase sodas, watch a working television, and even play darts. There, a prefect told us to get dressed for class." End of quote. What is interesting about this is that in the final game, the television doesn't work. The darts minigame is missing, which could apparently be played by NPCs as well, and the prefects don't spawn in the dorm. But it doesn't end there, let's continue reading. Quote, "Aside from exploring the huge playground that is Bullworth, you'll also be tasked to complete various missions. In the one example we saw, a rather unhinged science teacher was upset that a wealthy student has procured a Price Venus flytrap plant identical to his own. Of course, there can only be one, so he forces Jimmy to dispose of it. After getting the code to the posh dorm Harrington Hall by administering a swirly to a preppy, he infiltrated the house and disposed a beatdown of the posh boys with a cricket bat. Following a shootout with our trusty slingshot, the plant was blown to whatever the fuck they wrote here, with an expertly placed firecracker. So first and foremost, it appears as though Jimmy would simply beat the ever-loving fuck out of the preps before getting to the plant, instead of having to disguise himself as a prep. And the plant itself could be destroyed with weapons, such as firecrackers instead of using the poison gun. Yay, this is so much fun.
The photo that you see on your screen right now talks about some pretty cool info, so let's read some of it, shall we? Taught a lesson, there are 5 different classes, blah blah blah. Let's just get to the beta stuff already. Complete level 1 chemistry and you'll be able to make your own stink bombs in your room. That's kinda weird because in the final game there are 6 classes. 1 is unlocked at the beginning of chapter 2, and the ability to make your own stink bombs is unlocked after chemistry 2, not 1.
Like that!
Let's read some more. Head of the class. Every time you break the rules, blah 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 blah, to hell with this. Let's skip again to the hot beta stuff, man. You may have to play a minigame, mowing a lawn or scrubbing graffiti off the walls within a time limit, for example. Sadly, in the final game you can only play the first mentioned minigame.
In the beta version of Buddy, you were able to customise bikes, but this was cut from the game. You can still find leftover subtitles in general.bin, located in any language image file which contains all the text. There are also 2 concept screenshots on David Byron's website which show a bit of what the menu used to look like. This feature may have been cut from the game so that shop class wouldn't be entirely useless.
Bully's logo went through several revisions, and Rockstar kept re-releasing screenshots with updated versions of it. Here's a screenshot with the first version of the logo. Here's the same screenshot with the second version of the logo. And finally, here's the final logo we all know and love today.
Located near the entrance of the Happy Volts Asylum, or inside world.img, asy_building.txt, you can find the texture that was used in the bathroom in the removed second floor of the boys' dorm.
Remember those low quality sprites of some characters that appear in the Big Crash, the Big Game, or the Midget Fight in the Freak Show? Well, in the world image there's this IBUVcrowd.txt file which contains all the beta version of some preps that seem to be cheering. We have Pinky, Bryce, Gord and Darby. They're all performing animations that can still be found in the final game.
As we mentioned previously, the darts minigame was cut from the final game. On David Byron's website, you can see a picture of what the dartboard was going to be like. In the game files, we can still find some textures of it. More specifically inside of the GRSDRTBRD.txt file.
Always located in world.img, there's a texture called jphoto.txt. This shows a picture of Damon in his football uniform, possibly finding a prefix paddle that you're supposed to hide earlier in the remove mission, the paddle.
Inside Dr. Crabblesnitch's office, you can find a dark statue. Many people think that this could have been Dr. Crabblesnitch's beta face. This is actually true. In the world image, inside iscoffice2.txt, you can find the statue texture, which even includes the eyes and the mouth for the face. Rockstar probably felt lazy while making the texture for the statue, decided to take his face and just make it grey instead.
Remember how the crane could have been turned off by the greasers in the beta version of Johnny Vincent's boss fight? In the game files, we can find two textures inside of the ljy_junkyard.txt file, which contains an on and off button texture.
The Scholarship Edition seems to have been made on top of an early version of the game on PS2. In fact, Scholarship Edition contains some beta textures, like the cricket's back texture while it's on a wall, or Jimmy's School sweater vest, which was imported from Player.net. Fun fact, because I know you love this shit. Jimmy's beta model is the only character model that was remastered. Scholarship Edition greatly improved textures and all, but they left the models untouched. The Wii version of the game, however, seems to be running on the oldest version of the game. We can tell this by looking at Jimmy's School sweater vest, which has a red part on the back, or looking at the cricket's back texture, which uses the beta logo while both being on the wall and being picked up by the player. Also, some Scholarship Edition's exclusive missions actually have leftovers on the PS2, like an incomplete version of the Small Offenses cutscene where Brandy asks you to destroy all the garden gnomes.
This photo mentions that Bully features around 50 missions plus 25 sub-missions. In the final game there are only 14 side missions, 17 if we actually add Scholarship Edition's exclusive missions, but it's still far from 25.
Alright maggots, this is it. This video took a long time to be made, so I hope you've enjoyed it. I want to thank SWEGTA, DEgo and the TheNathanNS for giving voices in this video. Also special thanks to Deadpool for helping a lot by providing various clips. Thanks mate. Make sure to check all of their channel in case you haven't.